Gotcha. Ah, that's better.
ProtectYourBubble.com, proud sponsors of Swipe on Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up on the show this week, we're getting solar savvy. Find out how to never get a utility bill again. Look out! We've Periscoped the CEO of Periscope. Hear what he told us about the live streaming app.
They've broken through our defenses and our base is in lockdown.
And instead of a games review, we've got a preview for you this week in which we go searching for the Master Chief. Welcome to the UK's first ever fully solar-powered new build home. On one of the sunniest days of the year, we couldn't have planned this any better. Now, it might look a little bit futuristic, but by next year, the government wants all new homes to be zero carbon, just like this one. Here's Will.
This building is a one-off. Using just solar power, it's able to create enough electricity to keep it running all year round. Panels on the roof collect the sun's energy, and specially insulated walls absorb heat.
We're taking energy that's not normally required in summer, so the solar energy, which is producing sort of heat, is actually not used in summer. So that we're actually pumping that into the ground and then storing that for when it is required. So in the winter months, when the cooler months, and then that's then sort of brought back out of the ground through an underfloor heating system and distributed around the house.
Next year, the government wants all new homes to meet zero carbon standards, and by 2050, they want emissions down by 80%. Many of the systems in this home could help to do this. One of the most crucial parts of the building is hidden under the floor. The Earth Energy Bank is packed with sensors that tell the house what to do.
There's a few measurements which are used in the house to control the system to tell the heat pump when to turn on and off, or when the panels should be diverting heat to the ground. For example, at night, once they cool down, you don't want them pumping fluid into the ground because that will just cool the ground down.
One of the most well-established forms of green energy is wind. Last year, onshore turbines generated enough electricity to power 5.5 million homes for a year. But last month, the government announced that from April 2016, subsidies for onshore wind would be cancelled. This means other options will have to be looked at, including tidal lagoons, like this one planned for Swansea Bay.
We should be right at the centre of the offshore wind industry. We should be creating a whole range of jobs there. I think we can create more jobs in the solar industry. I think we've got a lot of opportunities if we get this right in tidal and water engineering.
So do you have to be a technology expert to live in a solar-powered house? Gemma's been finding out.
Now I've come up onto the roof to get a closer look at these solar panels, and it's certainly very hot up here. But thankfully I'm not by myself. I'm with Michael Goddard, who invented the energy storage system.
That is correct, yes.
Now, is it true that these solar panels are actually more powerful and stronger than typical solar panels?
They collect more energy than straightforward PV do because they're water cooled. So they're collecting not only the electrical energy, but also they're taking the heat from the panels and putting it down in the ground into the store.
They certainly look very impressive, but are they quite hard to look after if you live here?
No, there's only one moving part, and that's the pump that circulates the water between the panels and the Earth Energy Bank underneath the house.
And what if something goes wrong?
Well, it's a very simple system. It's really fit and forget. But if something does go wrong, it's either an electrical fault or it's a plumbing fault, so you call an electrician or a plumber.
Where is it all controlled from?
It's from the plant room downstairs in the house.
Ah, let's go.
Okay. Open it, all shall be revealed.
Oh, goodness, there is a lot of equipment down here.
Yes, it's quite a lot. Most of it you'd find in an ordinary house, though. The boiler, central heating cylinder and a hot water cylinder. This bit is extra that you would find in any house which has PV panels, and it's used to convert the DC from electricity into AC.
And what's that bit there?
That bit there is the generation meter, and that shows how much electricity we've generated over the time that the house has been here.
So 9,305
kilowatt hours. That's the measure, yes.
Since when?
Since November 13th. So you could say it's roughly generating 6,000 hours of electricity. It's kilowatt hours of electricity a year.
Which is the equivalent of?
Roughly running a 3 kilowatt fan heater for, say, 2,000 hours.
In a moment, we get an early look at a few games due out later this year. But first, here's a quick roundup of some of this week's tech news.
Periscope's co-founder dropped in for a chat this week, and it seemed only right to film it on the live video streaming app. CEO Kayvon Beykpour took a few questions from Periscope users and us.
Question from Dean Harry. Where do you see the future of Periscope going?
Well, Dean, what we want to be is a tool that people can use to see what's happening around the world. And I think the challenging thing about that is the world is a really big place. There are a lot of things happening, whether it's a celebration somewhere in San Francisco or a protest somewhere in Baltimore or terror attacks in Tunisia or, your nephew taking her first footsteps. Like, that's a really ambitious vision that I don't think we're anywhere close to solving. I think we maybe scratched the surface of bubbling up really interesting and amazing and tragic things that are happening through a medium like Periscope, but ultimately we want to take you further towards that vision.
Google Earth has turned 10. The mapping tool, which has been downloaded more than 2 billion times, has helped people discover new coral reefs, spot hidden military objects, highlight environmental changes and take an interactive tour of Mars. To mark the milestone, some new features have been added. A power tool that becomes part of your hand has been developed by a design student in London. The glove that carves stone or wood is called the Apparatus. Morten Nielsen made it so he could work more intuitively and quickly. He says he's already had interest from the cleaning industry as well as some experts wondering if it could be developed for bone or dental surgery.
Over the past few weeks, we've had quite a few new video game releases, but things have started to slow down a little bit. Maybe it's because of the nice weather. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to preview a few games that aren't even on sale yet. Here's Lucy.
Halo 5 is the latest in the long-running, pioneering sci-fi first-person shooter. It's an Xbox exclusive game, and we saw a lot more of Halo 5 at this year's E3 conference. It opened, actually, Microsoft's press conference. So the main story is you play as an elite super soldier. They're called Spartans. You typically play as Master Chief. But what's happened in Halo 5 is that all the colonies are being attacked and Master Chief is suspiciously missing. So people aren't sure if he's directly involved or if he's trying to actually help out. So you play both as Master Chief and as another Spartan called Locke. They've got a new game mode called Warzone, which is a 24-player multiplayer mode where you're fighting not only against other people, but you're also fighting against, what in games we call them creeps or AI, where it's just artificially controlled enemies. So it's also nice because it's quite a new, interesting thing for Halo because they are, when you think of multiplayer experiences, you think of Halo, and so now it's interesting to see them kind of reinvigorate their own genre, I guess. So it's quite a dry summer for games. We haven't really got that many big, huge AAA releases up until maybe September, but one game that's really got me interested is kind of on the smaller scale. It's called Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. So it's made by a company called the Chinese Room, who made Dear Esther, which was this game where you're sort of wandering around, and it prompted a lot of discussion about what is a game. So you're in the mid-80s, this is kind of height of Cold War paranoia, and you're in a little village in Shropshire. And it looks fantastic, but the only problem is there's nobody there. So there's some event has happened, and it's just you walking around trying to piece together what happened and what's happened to everyone in this village. And the way you do it is similar to Dear Esther in that you uncover these memories and you stand there and you interact with them and they sort of come to life a little bit and you can piece together the story. So everyone pretty much this summer has been to see the Mad Max movie, the new reboot, and now there's a game, but it's not directly involved. It's kind of thematically similar. Not only are you driving around the wasteland, jumping over dunes and everything, but people in other cars come and attack you. So you have your little minion guy called Chumbucket who's in the back of your car, and he's this master mechanic. So basically when you find car parts, you give it to Chumbucket and you can upgrade your car. But also what happens is in the wasteland there are these strongholds, and if you've played games like Assassin's Creed or Shadow of Mordor, you kind of get the main, you know what it's going to be. You have to go in, kill the boss, take over the stronghold, take the resources. So we've played that part before, but it's the vehicular combat which is really getting me excited, and that's out later this year.
Well, that's it. Take a look at Sky News for iPad and mobile for some bonus features from this week's episode. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Gotcha. Ah, that's better. better.
ProtectYourBubble.com, proud sponsors of Swipe on Sky News.